What I want to talk about quickly in this video is circumstances. Many people allow their circumstances to determine their future, to determine their outcome, to decide what's going to happen in their life. They allow the circumstances to decide what's going to happen in their life. Now, this, of course, is the way to be unsuccessful. You're watching this video because you want to develop yourself. You want to enhance your skills and your capabilities. To enhance your skills and capabilities so you can be successful. To be successful, you have to determine your luck. There is no luck. Well, there's luck, I can be struck by lightning, but most times it's not going to happen. I can win the lottery, but most times it's not going to happen. To be financially successful, for instance, requires a plan. You get there by template, an objective, and also the circumstances that you're faced with to decide how you're going to handle those circumstances so that you can best achieve your objectives. Now, many times the circumstances and hurdles that we all have in life, they seem insurmountable. They seem like you can't overcome them. But you can. There's always a way around something. There's always a differing perspective to approaching the same circumstances, a higher level of thinking. And when you adopt the higher level of thinking, so that circumstances are merely just a pathway to achieving your objectives and your goals, you'll find that you're going to be more successful. Now, most people, and not to talk about the negative, but you have to understand where we're coming from in life. For instance, to talk about the negative. Now, most people, I was just turning my AC on there because it's quite warm, even though it's cloudy, it's quite warm. Anyway, not to digress and be discursive, let's stay on topic. Circumstances, most people allow them to determine their life. Now, why do they do this? Because it's easy. If you are faced with a hurdle or faced with a barrier, let's say you want a promotion in your workplace, but then you realize you don't have a specific skill set. So you look at the list of attributes that the desired candidate they need for the next position, for the promotion. Let's say it's on intranet and they're hiring internally. Now, let's say you don't have one of those skill sets. Many people, they'll say, I can't apply for it. Then, I don't have that skill set. Possibly it could be coding skill set. Let's say you work in AI and there's a promotion for, in the AI company, and one of the skill sets is coding, but yours is more creative. And you say, I can't really do that, then I don't know how to code. Well, that is a hurdle and a barrier that someone else, when faced with precisely the same circumstances, that person is going to say to themselves, instead of deciding to just give up because I can't code, for instance. Instead of deciding to just give up, what I'm going to say to myself is, well, what does it take to learn how to code? I'm going to then, decide for myself a plan of action so that I can learn how to code, so that I can apply for the promotion. The coding, the fact that I can't code, is never, if I'm going to be successful, from my perspective of I'm still going to achieve my objective, regardless of the challenge and regardless of the barrier. How do I learn how to code? I'm going to type that into Google, for instance. Maybe I'll go into a YouTube video like this, and someone else who's been in, precisely the same situation where they didn't code and they had to learn how to code. Maybe I'll take their blueprint and their roadmap, and follow it, and so I could learn how to code as well. But the example I'm giving can be applied anywhere else. Coding for a promotion, you don't know how to code, so what do? You learn how to code. Whereas many others, 9 out of 10 people, they would just say, I don't really know how to code, so I'm not going to apply for the promotion. I'm not going to apply for the situation. That position requires me to learn how to code. I don't know how to code, so I won't do it. They just give up before they try. Brian Tracy says most times people try. The number of times they try, it's zero times. You're not going to be successful if you don't try. You have to try, and you have to try, and you have to try. You have to keep trying. Perseverance is the key. Nothing's more powerful than perseverance. And perseverance is what you need to overcome obstacles. Any circumstance or situation that's going to stop you achieving your objective, that circumstance can be overcome with one word: perseverance. And that's the word you should actually take away from this video: perseverance. Perseverance beats talent. Perseverance beats a good plan, for instance. A good plan is nothing unless you're prepared to persevere to achieve the good plan. Someone with a bad plan, but who perseveres, they're going to come out further along the successful pathway than someone who has a great plan, but they didn't persevere. So a great plan comes second to perseverance. Talent, ability, skill, all of these things charisma that we would like to have in life, They come second to the person who has no charisma, but they persevered. Many of these Fortune 500 CEOs, people right at the top, I can guarantee you, their charisma is nowhere. They're not really charismatic, but what they do have is perseverance, the determination to keep going in the face of challenges. And I tell you, that's what you need too. You, the viewer watching this, you need to have perseverance. You need to be determined. Have determination to see your goal through to the conclusion, regardless of the challenges. Now, life is filled with challenges and obstacles and hurdles and reasons, why we shouldn't continue with a specific objective. Your decision to be successful hinges on your perseverance. How determined are you to persevere regardless of the setbacks, regardless of the hindrances, and regardless of circumstances which would otherwise stop you or other people? That's the crucial key in life. You can have a circumstance that's going to stop you and decide to overcome the circumstance. Find a workaround. Find a way to overcome the circumstance. Maybe you need to learn something. Maybe you need to go to a different location. Maybe you need to do something with yourself, develop yourself, like learning something. But it could also be a communication aspect. Maybe you need to do a form of communication that you've never done before. Maybe they want to have a Zoom interview and you're just used to person-to-person interviews. Maybe they want to have a person-to-person interview and you're just used to Zoom calls. In the furlough age and the lockdown age, we got used to Zoom. Now, whatever it is that you need to do, you need to change. I'll do this in a different video, but the power of change is so powerful. Marcus Aurelius says the universe loves to change. Now, if you understand this is a universal principle. The universe is successful. That's why we're all here. If the universe wasn't successful, none of us would be here now. Why is the universe successful? The power of change. The power of change is just yes, you can rest. Many times if you're facing the inevitable obstacles that we face when pursuing an objective or a challenge, taking a rest is good. And I would say take a rest every day. Recharge your mind. Come back to a task. Don't just, when you get tired, just plod on and continue with a task. That's perseverance, but it's weak perseverance. You have to also understand your physiology. If your physiology is tired, if you need to have a rest, take a rest. Come back to the task or the challenge. Once your mind is refreshed, you've had a rest and your mind is refreshed, go back to the task. You'll find you're going to do superbly well with a fresh mind, with a clear mind. So have a rest. That's fine. But many times the power of change is what you need. You need to change to do an adaptation to either your working practices or your circumstances, your lifestyle routines. Something needs to change for you to overcome the obstacle or the barrier or the hindrance. And I would say embrace the change. Know when something needs to change. Maybe I want to do business in Saudi Arabia, but I don't speak Arabic. Well, guess what I have to do then? Not give up. Not say, I don't speak Arabic, so that, multi-million pound venture that I know I'm going to be good at, I just want to see that through because I don't speak Arabic and it's in Saudi Arabia. No, don't do that. Say to yourself, well, that's a great challenge. I need to go to Saudi Arabia. This bit of business that I want to do, it's in Saudi Arabia. And I can learn Arabic, so it's not going to be an obstacle. It's actually a challenge, a secondary challenge. The business task in itself is a challenge, but learning Arabic is another challenge. So you overcome the language barrier. It's literally, the barrier is a language barrier. That's what we call it in our civilization, a language barrier. You overcome the barrier by your decision to learn the language so that the language is no longer a barrier. It's a wonderful example, Maybe you move to a different country, say South America. I have aspirations to travel South America, to move to parts of the world where they speak Spanish. Now, although my ancestry, my grandfather's Cuban, of Cuban ancestry, Spanish ancestry, I don't speak Spanish. I'm born in England. Obviously, you know this when I'm speaking, and I don't speak Spanish. But I have a lifestyle objective to retire, even though it's lovely and warm where I am now, Lincolnshire in England. It's lovely and warm, even though the clouds are out. England's pretty dreary and pretty rainy for most parts of the year. I think 6 months of the year is pretty dreary, pretty rainy, and that's wonderful. But it's not my long-term aspiration to retire where it's cold during the winter. I know that I can be healthier and stronger for longer if I have sunshine, vitamin D, for instance. So one of my objectives requires me to, do a form of migration to Spain, for instance. So Espanol will be a barrier. But it's not a barrier where I'm going to say, oh, I'll just retire somewhere else then where they speak English, because then I'm going to reduce my options to just places where they speak English, like New Zealand, America. Who wants to live there with Trump as the president? All you Trump fans, don't hate on me. I'm just saying it's my this is real talk with Sean. And personally, I don't want to live in America when Trump's the president. He's rounding people up who weren't born in America. Even if they were born in America now, he's saying if you're born in America, you're not a citizen. Who wants to go to a country like that? I certainly don't. So anyway, if you say to real talk with Sean, if you say to yourself, language is a barrier, so I can only go to places that speak the language I spoken my whole life, well, you're going to reduce your options. So I'm not going to allow that to happen to myself. So I'm going to learn the language to overcome the language barrier. And you can apply the same principle of what I just said to you there about a language barrier. You can apply that same principle, and you can say to yourself, for instance, I want to run a marathon. Wonderful aspiration. Or I want to climb a mountain. These physical challenges that we set ourselves in life, so we can feel good about ourselves. Our self-esteem can go up, and we can say, we've done it. It's not just about the selfie at the top of the mountain or the medal after finishing the marathon. It's about how we feel having overcome the hurdles to climb to the top of the mountain, to finish the race. Very good analogies. To finish the race and get to the top of the mountain. One of the major barriers is going to be physical fitness. You want to get to the top of the mountain. You want to finish the race. But, of course, many times your physical fitness isn't there in the beginning. Your physical fitness will be a barrier. So you can give up. You can decide, I'm not fit enough to do that, so I'm not going to do it. Or you can be one of the top people, the 1 in 10, who decide, fitness is an obstacle because at the moment you're unfit. But you're going to have, for instance, an online personal trainer. I'm actually a qualified online personal trainer as well. This is not, a way for you to get clients. It's a completely different channel. But I would say you can employ someone who knows what they're doing, because you don't want to waste time, 15 years learning about physiology and anatomy, when you can tap into someone else's experience, tap into their 15 years of fitness experience, and then, get a plan from them to get physically fit. You say to them in the beginning, my objective is to run a marathon. My objective is to climb to the top of a mountain. So that fitness professional could be myself, could be anyone else. A fitness professional, a fit pro who has their credentials, they have their accreditation. You can trust that they know what they're talking about. They have the verifiable experience. They make a plan for you to improve your physical fitness. Yes, there's expenditure. You can do it by yourself. You can try and learn by yourself. But many times the expertise that someone else has taken the time to learn and their years of experience, by paying them just a smaller sum of money, maybe you need to develop a website. So by going to a web developer, tapping into their experience, you can save so much time. And also many of the mistakes that you would otherwise make in making your own website, maybe it's just not going to work. Likewise, trying to get your fitness on track to run a marathon, it's just not going to work. I'm not saying for everyone it's not going to work, but most times it's not. There's many aspects of your fitness which you need to outsource to someone who knows about the fitness. Likewise, website developing, or maybe it's cooking, maybe it's building a house. For instance, you want to build a house in the countryside. You need to outsource some of those tasks to people who have years of experience in doing those tasks, whether it's the plumbing, whether it's the electricians, coming in, the sparkies coming in to do the electrics for the house. You need to outsource some of these tasks, set back, have the objective overall, be the project manager. The instances we're talking about before, you're project managing your own hobbies, your own interests, your own pursuits and pastimes, to climb a mountain, to finish a marathon. Instead of giving up, instead of letting the barrier of not being fit or your fitness level being low so you can't achieve the high, lofty barrier, we talked about lofty barriers in the beginning, instead of giving up, you persevere and you say, you know what, I'm going to get myself a plan. Get yourself a plan. You, the person watching this, maybe you have that objective. You get yourself a plan so that you bring your fitness levels up to the level where you can finish the marathon, you can finish the race. Fitness levels up to the point where you can climb the mountain, get to the top of that mountain and achieve those lofty objectives, wonderful objectives. They're going to make you feel wonderful about yourself afterwards. The sense of achievement you'll feel, the sense of the success that you bestow upon yourself. But obviously when you brag to your friends, you climb this mountain and you finish this marathon and so on, that sense of achievement, that sense of success, the pride that you're brim with, that's invaluable and that's priceless. Many of those feelings within ourselves, we look back and we cherish them, because they're more they carry more personal value to us than many of the material items that we possess. This car, for instance, or the sofa in your house, or the TV that you're watching me through right now, that's less of a valuable memory or item or something that you hold in your life than your children, than your family, than your friends, than the memories of your marriage, of lovely holidays that you've had, for instance. So the success at the end that you'll brim with is worth the decision to persevere. The sense of achievement that you'll have at the end is worth overcoming the challenges. And you have to have a fourth dimensional way to look at life, where you see the challenges, but you say, you know what? My objective, my goal is worth me finding a way to get around this obstacle. It's in front of you, it's stopping you, but you're going to find a way to get over it or get around it. And it's that mentality, that sort of dogged Winston Churchill mentality, that you're going to overcome the barriers that you're faced with to achieve the objectives, that you're never going to give in. You're going to make sure you persevere. That dogged, that resolute mentality, to have the resolve, that resolve to just continue regardless of whatever else happens in life. Anything that's happening in yourself, aim to achieve these challenges so you can, feel proud about yourself at the end. It's been another episode, so to speak, another video from Real Talk with Sean. I'm just in the nascence of my channel, the embryonic stages of my channel, so many things I'm going to be doing wrong here. Maybe this, but I'm going to persevere. I'm going to continue to make more videos. And if you want to see more videos from me, you know what you have to do. Smash the subscribe button. Completely unprepared little, whatever you want to call it, for you to subscribe. Got tongue-tied there and lost for words. That's how you know it's real, when I'm asking for your patronage and for you to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on more videos that I'm making in future. In terms of other videos I've made, this one on public speaking is absolutely wonderful. You can click it through the link here and the video here.